Genesis chapter 9, verse 6. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul? This was a question I would ask myself as I would look at the plantation masters. Women beaten like stray animals, and men tied out in the pastures like cattle to work until their hands blistered. Little to no consideration was given to blacks then. We were to be owned and outcast, work like dogs, with homes no better than pigsties, to build a society that itself worked to tear us down. It was such a cruel reality to live in. What Jamaica is today, this is foreign to me. There are no weights, no chains, no inhumane traps that pierce the skin, and no collars that showed ownership. You have laws today that are universal, not for colored, not for whites, or for blacks. There are no exemptions. There is no segregation in your constitution. It's so strange. It's almost too incomprehensible for me to understand, but I do, because this is something I have wanted for so long. Throughout society, men and women treated like what they are, human, people. It brings me such joy that I'm at a loss for words. Blacks and whites living amongst each other, speaking, interacting without stipulations or regulations, not to be owned by any other than ourselves. Good God, this is miraculous. Solely because this erodes all that I had seen, but it coincides with what I knew to be true. My people, it is strange but sad with what I still see to be true nonetheless. In my fight for a desire owed unto every man, I realized many things. I realized in fighting for what was owed to us, many of my people forgot what it was that they were truly fighting for, because the understanding of themselves, their image, was skewed. I understood that coexisting was never as complicated as it was made to be. And these two things are what I see my people struggle with in light of freedom. There is no explicit law that states that one color is better than the other. We know exist among each other. This is true. But subconsciously, the understanding of the black man is warped. There is still the idea that being white, that a fairer complexion, that a specific type of hair, that a certain way of speaking is better. I never minced my words when I was speaking to my congregation, and even in death, I shall not depart from that. White is right in the eyes of so many Jamaicans, and I say this without apology. Not the white man from America or England that stops by the island ever so often. No. For the ones that own the businesses, that drive a certain type of car. For the ones who live in certain areas, I see it. For the mixed men and women with their hair like grapevines and the whiskey-colored skin, the eyes tinted with hints of gold and green. When you interact, there's an adaptation in how you speak with them, almost as if there's a desire to be them. There's a subtle elevation in your deportment and willingness to offer kindness. You perceive their wealth before you perceive them as human beings. And if you think I'm wrong, compare this to how you treat the man who has no visible sign of wealth, whose dark skin is glossy, whose hands are coarse and unkempt, whose clothing doesn't look like it was bought elsewhere, and whose car doesn't look shiny and new. I see it all. I see unspoken truths in your demeanors. I see that the black man still has not realized that he has been made in the image and likeness of God himself, and with that exists in a medium of infinite possibilities and potential. Do you know how much strength runs through your veins and how much history you carry in your charcoal-colored skin, my people? Do you know the strength of your ancestors and the accomplishments of your kind before we knew of other races and slavery? Do you know God and, through extension, your purpose, and how important the fact that you are standing here at this very moment in history? Good God, man! Do you know your strengths, my black brothers and sisters in the Lord? Not solely to exist among each other, but to coexist, we must look at those who are untainted. We must look at the children, for they have no cares for wealth or beauty, none for the color of the skin or for the cars that they watch go by. A child's response to life is innately to be kind, to be curious and kind. It is to find joy in the simple things and treat others how they would want to be treated without giving it a second thought. They may not be able to speak with words longer than their own names, but they communicate honestly and without judgment. The child who is black and the child who is white cares only for laughs and mundane affairs. They understand so well their likeness to the Creator. A horse falls out of his mother, not being told how to be a horse, but innately knows it exists and does not question it. Does not liken its mane to its counterparts. It does not think twice about the color of its coat. It merely exists without the inclination to harm unless harmed, and lives in peace among its brethren. As a man who has lived in a time with both an abundance of horses and children, the similarities are evident. I once told this to my dear friend George William Gordon, who, I see you know, also attached the title of hero. He laughed and he told me God gave me keen eyes. Those eyes are the very eyes I use to look beyond the veil of society today with both deep-seated pride and a ponderous gaze. But it is with this pride that I will say this to you. You have come far, and you can go even further. Remember this. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 27. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on this earth." So God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created him. When you're doing the Lord's work, there never seems to be enough time. It seems that my time is up, my brothers and sisters. They're calling back for me. So I must go, but I leave my spirit to guide you. I leave my legacy to remind you that hope is not lost, not as long as you choose to fight for it.